victims and fugitives, hooded eyes and weary brows, seek refuge in the night. They are the scatterlings of Africa, each a protected one. They're on the road to Bella Banga, beneath the copper sun.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. On behalf of the District 9400 Ryla team, I'd like to welcome you all this evening. It is such a pleasure to welcome you on Rotary International's 116th anniversary to this special 24-hour relay of meetings around the world, showing that in Rotary, the sun really never does set. Thank you to Rotary District 3232 in India for the invitation to join this program. This is the first of its kind and quite a momentous occasion. Special word of welcome to District Governor Anna-Marie Mostert, District Governor-elect Stella Ngwanye, District Governor nominee Kuki Kwashi, and to all the district governors, past district governors, Rotarians, Rotaractors, interactors, friends that are joining us from wherever you are in the world. A huge welcome. We hope that you will enjoy the next couple of hours with District 9400. We just have a few requests. We will be muting everyone, but you have the ability to unmute when called upon to speak. And please, can you just rename yourself with your designation, your district, your designation, and your name so that we know who we have online. Makes it easier for us to find people. During the presentations and discussions, if you have any questions, please can you post them in the chat room. We will have a question and answer session later on in the program. At this point, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the District Governor for 9400, and I'd like to call her a friend, DG Anna-Marie Mostert. Thank you, Anna-Marie.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, and welcome to everybody from around the globe, and specifically also from Southern Africa and from our district. I'm delighted to be here on this birthday and the anniversary of Rotary International. And what a fitting entry that we have with two beautiful songs. The first one really about the Rainbow Nation. And I thought the Ndlovu Choir did so well. And if you have followed that, they've been receiving so many awards around the world, and they're proud citizens from the northern part of the country. And therefore, I also want to say, yes, the sun never sets in Rotary. Because first of all, to have this choir opening with their beautiful colors and also their dance. And I want to say that is fitting because it's a circle of life, a circle of love and life in Rotary. We grow and we grow fonder of one another and also enjoy the fellowship. And then the second song with Impi. I mean, how beautiful was that with the animals and this part of the world. We don't have lions walking in the streets, but we really enjoy the beautiful animal life outside in our parks, the peace parks. And because today is also about peace and reconciliation, and it's about peace building, and therefore the youth, the future of Rotary, I'm delighted to welcome each and everybody that's part of this Ryla team, Ryla being Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, those future Rotarians that will one day take over and that will actually make sure that the organization will continue to grow. Cheryl, to you and the team, thank you very much for what you have done, not only in our district, but also for today, helping us to celebrate in true South African and Southern African style. Because in District 9400, we have the 4 countries, South Africa, we've got Botswana, Mozambique, and Eswatini. And that is absolutely a delight to be part of the global fellowship and citizens of the young generation. And I wish you well for the next hour and a half before we also welcome Grace and the alumni, those guys that has already done it, but those that are ready to rock and roll in the Rotary world. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm delightful to stay on and participate tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna Marie. Yeah. Sorry, just hold on a sec. Sorry, I have a co-host here in the same room as me, so it's a bit confusing speaking to you and speaking to him and giving him instructions on what to do next. Rotary International President Holger Knark could unfortunately not attend all 16 programs that are part of The Sun Never Sets in Rotary due to his busy schedule. He has, however, sent us a short video message that I would like to share with you at this time.
Greetings and happy 116th anniversary. So much has changed in the world in 116 years, and there have been many years of dramatic growth and change. This past year, we have lived through some difficult times, but we have also been important actors in Rotary history, because what we have done this past year has helped move our organization forward dramatically. We found new ways to care for each other and to provide support in the face of a ragged pandemic. I have rarely left my home in Germany for almost a year, but I have attended more Rotary meetings and events than any president in our history. We have kept up our historic commitment to ending polio, took a strong stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion, created a new area of focus about the environment, and pointed to the future by looking for new ways that Rotaractors can take an expanded leadership role in everything we do. We have so much to be proud of today, and that is why we must keep growing and adapting. Rotary opens opportunities for you to live a richer, more meaningful life with friends around the world based on our core values. Everything we do opens another opportunity for someone, somewhere. So let's celebrate and look forward to the time when we can meet again face to face soon. Please take care of each other on this joyous day. Thank you.
Good evening.
I haven't handed it over to you. Sorry about that. We're having a couple of technical glitches on this side. I'd now like to introduce to you President Jeff Harvenacher from the Rotary Club of the East Rand, Rotary E Club of the East Rand, sorry, who is also the facilitator of the East Rand Ryla program, and also my husband and my partner in crime and most other things. And Jeff will be telling you a little bit more about what Ryla actually is.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Jeff, and I am the facilitator. What is Ryla? Besides being awesome, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards is an intensive leadership experience organized by Rotary clubs and districts. Young people can develop leadership skills while having fun and making connections. We aim to help our youth realize their full leadership potential through a variety of activities, both indoors and outdoors, to develop them as individuals, as team members, and as team leaders. Ryla is a unique opportunity to experience and learn things about yourself, about working in a team, but more importantly, about leading other people. The skills learned at Ryla are invaluable assets that will serve you throughout your life and your career. The District 9400 programs. There are a number of Ryla and youth leadership programs in District 9400, all coordinated by dedicated teams of Rotarians who work closely with the District Ryla Committee to ensure the protection and safety of our youth, and that the highest standards are maintained in our programs. Participants are selected and sponsored to attend Ryla by Rotary clubs from across the district. All Ryla programs include a core curriculum, which includes the following topics: the fundamentals of leadership, the ethics of positive leadership, the importance of communication skills in effective leadership, problem solving and conflict management. What is Rotary and what does it do for the local community? Building self-confidence and self-esteem, the elements of community and global citizenship, issues of local relevance. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I just have a very light-hearted definition of a leader. They say a leader takes you where you want to go, but sometimes a leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. In District 9400, we have quite a number of different programs. And at this stage, I'm going to ask each of the Ryla coordinators in turn to present a little bit more about their program so that you get a better understanding. I'm first going to call on Rotarian and Rotaractor Lungizi Lopi from the Rotary and Rotaract clubs, respectively, because he is both a Rotarian and a Rotaractor, of Umbuban Umbuluzi in Eswatini. And for those that didn't know, Eswatini used to be known as Swaziland, beautiful part of the country. Lungizi, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'm Louis Ethiopia. I'm a Rotarian and a Rotaract from the Rotary Club of Zimbabwe. I'm also the Ryla coordinator for the Ryla program in the Kingdom of Eswatini, which is sponsored by the 5 Rotary clubs in the kingdom. I was once the participant of Ryla since 2015, and then I'm coordinating the program for the year 2020-2021. Our Ryla program usually takes place during the month of March, and hoping to have the next Ryla for 2021 on the 20th of March this year. Our training program is a comprehensive study of the many facets of leadership, and also incorporate personal development and some community service. So Mainly, we focus on the many facets of leadership, both by their trained on leadership skills. We also focus on personal development. We train the participants on problem-solving skills, conflict management, stress management among adolescents, building self-confidence and self-esteem. We also focus on public speaking skills, and many more. So we also train the participants more on Rotary information, what Rotary is about and what it does for the community, so that they are well versed about Rotary ideals and values. We also make sure that we make a good network connection amongst our participants through team building exercises, as well as entertainment and some outdoor activities. So we have prepared a short video to summarize everything about our Ryla program, and we also have two of our Ryla alumni. So we have candidate from the Republic of Mozambique, and we also have Konzeni Dlamini from the Rotaract Club of Limpopo in Mbabane. So they will share more about their experience through our Ryla program. So I will hand over back to Sharon to play our short video. Thank you.
Thank you, Ndlezi. Well, thank you, Lungizi. That was a beautiful video. I'd like to call Kunzeni Dlamini. Are you here? Candida, are you online?
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome, Candida. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your experience at Ryla, please?
Yes, sorry, I don't speak English very well. I'm from Mozambique. In my country, the official language is Portuguese. And I'm so sorry about my English. My English is a little broke, you know, but I'm very happy to be here. And this was my first experience in Ryla. I'm Rotaract since 2018. And I enjoy so much in Eswatini. I know and I make good friends. And I show a little bit about my culture, about my country, about my activities. And in another dynamic, my group is win. And I win good book, another book. The title is The Many Facets of Leadership for Martin Martin, maybe Martin, for Dr. Martin. And I read the book. I have a lot of things, good, important things about leadership, and was a good experience of my life. Unfortunately, in this year, the pandemic, COVID-19, is not able to do the same thing again. We have restriction, and it's not good time to be with each other, enjoy with each other, and learn more about Rotaract, etc. But I think and I pray every day to the pandemic is we over in all the countries, and I'm very positive to that. The scientists and all the world make work every day to know the vaccine, to search the cure of this pandemic, and maybe in the future, next future, we be together. Thank you so much for the word. I'm so sorry about my English. I think all people listen more, but yeah, the good opportunity in the Ryla. I speak more Irish. I learn more about English, and was amazing time. I learn more the new language. It's not my maternal language. And thank you. Bye bye.
Obrigado.
Obrigado, Canimambo.
Thank you very much, Candida. Not all of us speak Portuguese, but my husband does know a couple of words, so he just wanted to greet you in your language. Thank you very much for joining us. At this point, I'd just quickly like to welcome Rotarian Vasanti from District 3232 in India. Vasanti, are you here? Can you just say hello quickly? You were here just now.
Vasanti,
Hello.
unmute.
Can you hear me? It's wonderful
Yes.
to see all of you connect, and especially this lovely girl's experience and sharing. Gorgeous. Even if she were to speak the silent language, I think across Rotary, we would understand. We are so good for each other. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vasanti, and thank you again for inviting us to be part of your program and 24-hour event. Seppo, can I ask you to mute yourself, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I'd now like to take you to the gorgeous part of the country, White River, where Judy Potts from the Rotary Club of White River will tell you a little bit more about White River's plans with regards to Ryla. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Sorry, Judy, just hold on for 2 seconds. I'm just going to mute everyone, so you're going to have to unmute yourself again, please.
Okay. Hello.
Awesome.
Hello. I can't see me. That doesn't matter. I'm really happy I can't. I'm Judy, and I come from White River, and I must just make you all jealous, just to tell you, we had a hippo walking down the center of town the other night. We truly live in the most amazing place. And we have a wonderful club. Our club's very invested with youth, and we're always very happy to expand that further. We have 3 interact groups, and years ago we started doing camps with them, and things grew. What we realized then was kids need lots of fun to learn things, and we started looking at Ryla, and we'd always been sending people to the Ryla camp at the Warriors up in Limpopo, and we've made many strides, and we are about to launch our first Ryla camp, open all the Lofeld's youth, hopefully next year. We will stop this year with COVID, and I have a little video which I hope will explain things to you, and if you have any questions you can ask afterwards. Here we go.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Mashaba. I'm one of the instructors that attended the Ryla camp. To me, the Ryla camp was one of the best camps I've ever attended in high school. I have a lot of good memories to hold on to. Every task and every activity that they gave us at the camp made me more confident and made me realize that to every situation that you come across in life, there's always a way out, there's always a solution. There were opportunities for self-reflection that made me improve my self-esteem. These moments really had a good impact in my life. I've developed new skills and new mindsets. The camp all in all was a good experience. So it was really great. Thank you.
Oh, for me, personal Rotaract camps were the best experience ever. I had the opportunity to attend twice. One was in 2015 in Limpopo, and the other one was in 2016. We hosted as an Rotaract club of Funijogo, and it was in White River. And both camps were amazing. I mean, what I really, really loved about these camps were the games that we used to play. The fact that they were not only games, but there were lessons. So in each and every game that we played, the fact that we have to work in teams and we have to pull each other up, and we learn to grow in each and every challenge that we were given. And I made friends, we ate good food. I really, really enjoyed all that. And I miss that now. And I also miss the late night walks we used to take as girls from the manhole to where we slept. It was all dark. We had to use torches. We talked along the way. It was all fun. I mean, if I had to do Ryla again, I would do it over and over again. Too bad I was never part of the winning team, but it's all about having fun.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. wastelands, through the and on we'll go.
Shake your bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, baby, shake your bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, baby, shake your bum bum.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good day, great people. Good day, Rotary White River. I just want to make this video and say to you, the reason why we need to include leadership, environmental leadership and stewardship in leadership courses is that everything is environmental and we all live together in an ecosystem. So the leadership training that is coming, the camp that is coming, I will be also teaching the kids there some leadership responsibility and stewardship. So we'll be talking about rhino poaching, we will be talking about recycling, we'll be talking about environmental climate change and its impact to us as people of White River and Rotary. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to see you in the camp, and let's do environmental responsibility in a responsible, good manner. Thank you so much, Rotary. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Judy. And I must tell you that we are really looking forward to coming down to the Lowveld and joining you at your first Ryla. In Limpopo, we have near Zanin, Machubis Kloof, where Ryla is held at the Warriors Career Specialists in Pursuit and Outdoor, in Personal and Outdoor Pursuit Development. Ryla is held at their base camp in Machubis Kloof, and I'm going to pick on Rudy this evening because his daughter Rowena could unfortunately not join us. Rudy, could you please just tell us a little bit about your program and then we'll share your video. Thanks. You're muted.
Hi, can you hear me, Cheryl? Good evening, everyone. Yes, it has been our privilege, an absolute delight to offer the Ryla program here in Machubis Kloof, Limpopo province. Beautiful mountainous area, and it absolutely is a piece of heaven that we live in. And we've been running this programs now for the last, I don't know, maybe 15 years for our district. And we love running it. Our focus is very much on outdoor. So we try to get them outdoors as much as possible. And we use adventure and a bit of activities and some fun to come across, to bring across specific ideas about leadership and in general personal development. You know, our focus really is about as well to develop the person within. And I think the little video clip will speak for itself. And I will leave it over to Cheryl for you to play that. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Cheryl.
Thank you, Rudy. I'm just waiting for the video to come up. Thank you very much, Rudy. Sorry, I just heard a really bad echo. I just want to apologize in advance. I don't know if the videos are lagging on your side as well, but on this side, they're lagging a bit. There must be a little, internet connection must be a little slow this evening. At this stage, it is now time to hand over to Hubby Dearest again to tell us a little bit more about the East Rand, Ryla. Jeff?
Hi, it's me again, the facilitator. We run the Ryla on the East Rand, mostly for the Far East and the eastern part of Gauteng. Cheryl and myself actually over from the two originators of when they started many years ago, yeah, on the East Rand, Manuel and Alan Davies. And I actually became an understudy to them for quite a while when we were still doing it at Sun Valley. And due to constraints in that, we actually moved it across to Mseni in Benoni, where we have a lot of outdoor and indoor activities, very intense over 48 hours. And I must say it is awesome. I enjoy being the facilitator and enjoy having Cheryl there to assist me. Thank you.
Sorry, my fault. Let's try that again.
One more depending on a prep, and we all look away. People pretending everywhere. It's just another day. There's bullets flying through the air, and they still carry on. We watch it happen over there, and then just turn it off.
What do you think of Ryla?
I'm really enjoying it. I think that the freedom, but then also the discipline here is sort of really well balanced, and I think the ideals and the capabilities that they are giving us are really going to be very helpful when we're looking at later school life and that sort of thing.
Look at Ryla. I think it's amazing actually. This weekend has actually been quite amazing. I think it's the best camp I've ever been to. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The information is actually very good, and we're learning a lot about like time management and prioritizing and making sure that awesome.
With what we throw away, but all we serve are empty words that always taste the same. We must stand together. There's no giving in. Hand in hand forever. That's where we are. That's when we are winning. That's when we are winning. The right thing to guide us is right here inside us. No one can divide us when the light is nearly gone.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm sure our international visitors would have picked up by now that us South Africans like to dance. At any opportunity, we dance. I'd like to now call Azaria. Azaria Diashi is a former Interact president of the Interact Club of Springs Girls High. She's also the youngest member of our Rotary Club, the E-Club of East Rand, and a past Ryla participant. Azaria.
Thank you, Cheryl, for the warm welcome. I hope everyone's having a good day or evening. Well, Ryla is literally the shortest and longest weekend of your life, because you literally get there thinking it's going to be a long weekend with people that you barely know, and by the time it's over, you literally like, what happened? Time moved so quickly. And Ryla really does impact your life, because the lessons that you were taught, you really do stick with them. I viewed it as more of an each one teach one, and in doing so, we reach other people as well. So most of the lessons you do stick with them, and most of the people that you meet, that you do think that you'll never see them again, and the moment that you do see them again, it's like, who would have actually thought that the world is so small? But then that also it emphasizes the ripple effect that we all have in our lives, as well as how what you're doing at a young age, you might view it as it being insignificant, that that small act of kindness, but it actually does go a long way. And we do have the privilege of having I want to say transfer students, but it's not. But from other countries, they do come in. And then with them, you do realize that, okay, so it's not just people, like the people that are in that room with you who are also like-minded, but other people in the world. And it does make everything come full circle, because you see how, okay, if I start now at my age making a small difference, it impacts other people. And then by the time you're like the same age as Cheryl and Jeff, then how many people would you have impacted by them based off of that small act of kindness? So Ryla honestly it's amazing. It's a really good initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Azaria. I will remember that comment about when you're as old as Cheryl and Jeff. I'm not that old yet, I hope. My children might tell you, might agree with you, though. Thank you very much, Azaria. I'd like now to call Kansani Nyati from St. Francis College in Benoni, who recently attended Ryla. Kansani is currently in her final year at St. Francis, and she is also an interactor.
Good evening, Cheryl, and what's up, everybody? So I'm going to be speaking about my Ryla experience. In all honesty, it was one hell of an experience. Those 48 hours are more like 48 days, because you feel like you've known those people for so long. Cheryl's literally my second mom right now. I gained so much experience and so many lessons that I didn't know I needed. All those late nights that I had with people I didn't know, and we formed connections as if we've known each other for years. Honestly, this Ryla experience taught me that there's literally so much more to school, and I actually felt free for the first time in my life, because they gave us so much freedom to just be ourselves and do ourselves. And that's a lot of responsibility, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot. Honestly, all those activities and all the in-betweens that they'd have, time management along with dancing everywhere and taking pictures here and there. There's just so much that I've learned. It's overwhelming, but I'm just so happy and grateful for the experience that I had at Ryla with Jeff, the facilitator. And the last exercise or activity that I actually enjoyed was, I literally forgot the name, but it was something along the lines of when you're given a task and you have 30 minutes to complete the task, and you're out here running around like headless chickens, trying to get everything and trying to ask who's the facilitator, whether or not they'd like tea or coffee. It really taught us to just stay grounded and first speak before actually achieving something or doing anything. So those are just like little lessons of the overall weekend. I just really enjoyed my Ryla experience, and I do it again 100 times. And I think everyone should have a Ryla camp experience at East Strand. Thank you.
Thank you, Kansani. Yes, talents of the team can be very interesting on a Saturday afternoon when they all run around like headless chickens. Besides the actual Ryla programs that are run in District 9400, we also have a number of other youth leadership programs. And I'd now like to call on Rotarian Jean Bernardo from the Rosebank Rotary Club. Jean is a member of the Ryla Committee, or the District Ryla Committee, and she is extremely passionate about their program. But Jean, I'll let you tell them about it.
Thank you very much. I'm Assistant Governor Jean Bernardo from the Rosebank Rotary Club, and it's really lovely to be here sharing our course and our pictures with you to this evening. So I'd like to just quickly give you a little overview, because as Cheryl said, ours is slightly different, and it is commonly known as the Senior Youth Leadership course. and it has been running for just under 50 years in our club. And I have been a Rotarian now for 21 years, and I think that from my first year in Rotary, I joined the youth committee and have been involved with this course. So that is really why I'm so passionate. And the other reason why I'm passionate about the course is because when you see these youngsters arrive on the first day, on the Friday, and they don't know each other and they sort of are all shy and don't want to speak and whatever, and then you see them progress over the weekend, and by the end of the weekend, they're all hugging each other and swapping email addresses. And our course and our presenter is very big on networking. So he's very keen for them to share their addresses and emails, because he wants them to call on each other in their final year of school when they have a leadership position and they find that they may have a situation that they're not sure of how to handle, that they can then call on people that were on the course with them and ask for guidance and assistance. So that is quite a big thing in our course. And then just very quickly, because I don't want to take too much of your time. So our course again is a little different in that we put them into teams and we give them a very small amount of money and then tell them that they have to go shopping and buy their food for the weekend, and they have to cook and prepare the food, as well as to take into cognizance the dietary needs of anybody in their team, if they're vegan or anything like that. And they also have to prepare a banquet on the Saturday evening. And this is a frightening experience for them, because quite a lot of them, have not had to do those kind of things before. They don't know about budgeting and things like that. And so it's quite interesting to see the whole journey over the weekend with the shopping, with the cooking and all of that. And then on the Sunday, we normally end off with a huge braai for them, which we as the Rotarians prepare, and we feed them well on that day. So that's really our course. And if anybody ever wants to ask us any questions about it, you're welcome to contact me. And now I'd like to hand over to Cheryl to show our video. Thank you.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember, and I did not know no pain. When I believed in forever, everything will stay the same. Now my heart feel like December when somebody say your name. Cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so lost, and I felt all the hatred was too powerful to stop. Now my heart feel like an ember, and it's lighting up the dark. I'll carry these torches for you, but you know I'll never drop. Yeah, everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way, cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your memories bring back your memories bring back your memories bring back your.
Really, thank you so much for guiding us along. Also, all the free time. I think this is one of the camps that I've personally been to, and I've never seen something like this. I think it really does help us in actually like learning leadership skills, because not all other camps we like running and stuff. But from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much. And I
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through.
Growing up, I was an extremely shy person. I struggled to make friends outside of school, and in school, I always stuck to my very close friends. I longed to branch out and get to know other people, and feel free to approach others in my class or at gym and just strike up a conversation. I was a straight-A student, yet I felt completely incompetent to voice my own opinion, take charge, or lead anyone. I went to the Rotary leadership camp in my 11th grade. In those few days, I learned so much about myself, and I still look back on these experiences today. We were assigned randomly into groups, and that became our team for the rest of the time. We competed against the other teams in many different activities, and everyone was tasked to be the leader at least once. In one of them, each team had to create a part of an obstacle course, keeping in mind that we ourselves would need to compete in the obstacle course too. This meant we needed to design it around the strengths of our team. We performed really well in this area, but we failed miserably at the next when we were required to create the perfect dinner experience. That year, I broke out of my shell quite a bit, made new friends, got invited to parties, had my first kiss, and I even made prefect the next year.
Thanks very much, Christine and Jean. I think your program is very interesting, and I really hope that COVID lifts soon so that we can come and visit you and see firsthand what happens at Rosebank's leadership course. The next person I'm going to introduce is from the Rotary Club of Springs. They have a very unique, and it's a very unique program. It's a new program. They have run a pilot, and now they are sharing it with the district in the hopes that some of the other clubs will take up the offer. Here to tell you more, Leslie Ann Maxwell.
Good evening, everybody. We're excited to talk to you about our Kindness Convention and to share a small video presentation about it. The Kindness Convention is quite different from everything else you've seen. It is not about youth leadership. Instead, it's about individual development. It is not a team building program. Although I come to Rotary through youth development, my children introduced me to Rotary because of the Ryla program. And it's through the Ryla program that we got to go to Rotary meetings, because both of my children actually went to Ryla and then were asked to speak at Rotary meetings to report back on their experience. But I have always been passionate about youth development, and we saw a gap in youth development. What about the child who is not a leader? What about the child who doesn't see the potential in themselves and so will not be recognized as a leader and not sent to Ryla through his school? What happens to that child? What opportunity is there for him? And so we began a pilot program. I began working with my club on it. What happens if you offer a child like that the chance to go on a program where he volunteers? Nobody puts his name forward. You give him the chance to simply apply himself, and you send him to something that isn't a team event. He doesn't have to be a team player. He simply needs to show up. Can you change his life? Can you change the way he or she sees himself? And what happens then? Can he become the person he truly wants to be? I say he because our pilot program was predominantly boys. And you think boys don't want to be touchy-feely. But what an experience we had in that pilot program as we saw boys actually become emotional and want to change. In the words of one of our boys on that program, he said, "You have given me my second chance." And I believe that we can change the world by changing one young person at a time. So Cheryl will show you our video clip, and then we're going to talk a little more about what we can offer. Good evening to the House at large. The need for a program like the Kindness Convention has probably always been there. But school lockdowns, a growing sense of isolation and fear for the future made it clear that our interactors and other young people I worked with felt helpless and alone. They wanted to feel empowered and know that they could make individual contributions and make a difference in the world around them. And the seed for the Kindness Convention was planted. The 2-day convention is a personal journey for 16 and 17-year-olds to discover who they are and to reset their values and moral compass, if necessary, to make them the humanitarians they aspire to be. Based on a kindness model presented by the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, facilitators guide the small, intimate group through each of the character traits and values covered, as you saw in the video. Taken seriously, the program can be life-changing, but we discovered in our pilot program that for some, it can even be cathartic. The principle of the convention is to keep it small and intimate, and the idea is that we as a club bring the material and the facilitators, and you supply the venue, the organization, and the delegates. At the end of our pilot weekend, we had a group of kinder, more compassionate, grateful teenagers emerge, determined to change the world, one kind act at a time. Melanie was part of our pilot program. Now, Melanie was an interesting experience. As a Ryla alumni, she was known to our Ryla club. She was known to our Rotary club, sorry. She was both a participant and a facilitator on our pilot program. And we've asked her to share her experience with us.
Good evening, House at Large. As mentioned before, I was a facilitator of a session as well as a participant of the Kindness Convention. I had the advantage of seeing things from both sides, the teacher and the learner. Being part of the Kindness Convention made me aware of the many opportunities there are to display acts of kindness and how they can benefit myself and the others around me. When you're showing kindness towards others, it does very little in terms of what you gain materially, but it does a lot for your spirit and your heart. It made me rethink about what I say and learn how to be kind and strong and stand my ground all at the same time. It also gave me a glimpse of the type of person that I would like to develop into, someone who is brave, approachable, friendly, and most importantly, kind. The Kindness Convention helps people to be able to learn leadership skills without coming across as being a bully or bossy. As a facilitator of the inclusivity session, I learned how to notice the different indicators that teenagers present when they feel left out. And there were simple things that I didn't even realize were signals of someone who didn't feel included. I feel that having more interactors involved with running the Kindness Convention would not only open them up to the many problems youth experience and help them notice the signs so that they can be part of the solution, but it would also help the other youth who participate feel that they are communicating with someone who is close to their age and who really understands the challenges that youth face today. The Kindness Convention helps change the world one kind act at a time, and I look forward to being involved in making that change happen once again.
Thank you very much, Leslie Ann and Mel. Mel, you can now add it to your CV that you spoke at an international gathering as well. I'd just like to send a quick shout out to Rotarian Pat from District 1190. I believe she's going to be leaving us now to go and start her program. And thank you very much for joining us, Pat. Mr. Satish Rao is online. I'll be introducing him very briefly, and then he'll be taking over the presentation from me. Before that, I'll also be sharing with you one of the great projects what we have is Grama Lakshmi, that is empowering the rural women.
Rotarian Cheryl, Pat had a problem logging into this program, so I will officially tell her that you wanted to hand over this to her, and she has already started her meeting in UK. Thank you for obliging. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daksha. Daksha is part of the organizing committee from District 3232 in India. Welcome and thank you for joining us this afternoon. All of this tonight. It's nighttime there by you. I hope you're not going to get any sleep for the next 24 hours.
Thank you. Wonderful program. Keep it up, Cheryl.
Thank you, Daksha. At this point, I'm just going to check the chat box and see if there's any questions. I'm going to open the floor for questions to any of the Ryla presenters, any of the youth that spoke. Anybody would like to ask anything? I have one question for Azaria. Azaria, as a past Ryla participant and a past interactor, what was your primary reason for joining Rotary? Did I put you on the spot there? Azaria, I can't hear you. Azaria, Diashi?
No, she's here.
I can see you.
I think for me, everything sort of came full circle because
I think Azaria is battling with signal there.
okay, can you hear me, Cheryl?
There you are. We can hear you again.
For me, it came full circle where with Interacts, it's more of like a why not type of thing to do. And then with Ryla, you sort of you get a bigger picture of what Rotary is and what it does. And then it's like, okay, I would actually really like to commit and become more invested in it because it's such a great initiative.
Thank you. Thanks, Azaria. Just as a matter of interest to all the Rotarians on the call this evening, I have said many a time every time I have spoken to Rotary clubs about Ryla. If you had listened to the feedback from the interactors and some of the even some of the presenters, you would note that Ryla opens an opportunity for you to attract new members to your club. So I know for a fact that Azaria is a past Ryla participant. Leslie Ann and her husband Colin are both Rotarians as a direct result of their children attending Ryla. So make sure that when you sponsor a learner to attend a Ryla program, that you do in fact invite them and their parents to come back to your club and give you feedback, and then try and keep them engaged, because 10 to 1, you will get them to convert into Rotarians.
Right, is the Rosebank camp open to all clubs?
Okay, Jean, we have a question for you. Is the Rosebank camp open to all clubs?
No, not really, because we actually just send an invitation out to all the schools that we have on our system, on our computer, and it's first come, first serve. So we try to make sure that we send it to schools across the spectrum. So, you know, some private, some in maybe like Alexander or wherever. So we do tend to end up with quite a cross section of children, but at this stage our camp is just we send the invitation to the schools, and they send they choose the kids and they send them through to us. Although I shouldn't call them kids, sorry, the learners.
Yes, dealing with teenagers, they don't like to be called kids anymore. They are young adults now. So
do
we try
apologize.
to refer to them as learners. We have a question here from David Grant. Do any of the Ryla camps need volunteers from other Rotary clubs to help run their programs? Yes, please, please, please. Jeff, would you answer that one?
Which one? At all the Ryla camps, there's often you have your facilitators running the main programs and that, but on certain days or certain exercises or programs, there's always a need for volunteers to come and assist, in the sense also that the people that are running the Rylas or the different programs may not be there forever. They might just win the lotto and move to a small island where the sun shines. So yes, we need understudies, we need people that are interested in the youth, and just people from the different clubs to come and see what is happening and how things are done at the different Ryla conventions, camps, and outings. It's actually quite an eye-opener. Sometimes it's an eye-opener for the facilitator as well to see what we can do with the kids and what the kids come out with. So yes, we do need volunteers to come and help. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks for your question, PDG. David, would you, I see you've got your hand raised. Is there something else you'd like to add?
No, it was just a thumbs up to say that's noted. We have somebody interested in our club who is also very interested in youth. So maybe the connection there would be good.
Yeah, please give him my number and my contact details, and let's chat.
Thank you very much.
He's very welcome to come here as well if he likes hippopotamuses.
Some districts are planning virtual Ryla camps this year. Okay. That's from Dominica Bradiri.
Okay, sorry, just repeat that.
Some districts are planning virtual Ryla camps this year. Is this being considered in South Africa? It's from Dominica Bradiri.
Okay, we have a question that some districts are planning virtual Ryla camps, and are we considering it here in District 9400? Yes, not full Ryla programs. We have, the Ryla committee has discussed this ad nauseum. Some of our committee members feel very strongly that Ryla is not Ryla unless you're there in person, doing physical team building activities and the likes. But instead of running online Ryla programs, we have been running virtual seminars, and we will continue doing that until we are back to full capacity in the live Ryla events. The Ryla events that are going ahead this year will probably be limited numbers in comparison to prior years because of the additional requirements for social distancing. I hope that answers your question, Dominique. Anything else?
There was some.
Cheryl?
Sorry, yes?
It's Jean. I do see that Grace has asked, are we prepared to share our camp details and with any other clubs? And the answer is yes, definitely we are. And I also just wanted to make a quick comment on our camp is that we do raise the funds to pay for the camp. So there's no payment from the school or the kids. And I know that Ryla works where the Rotary Club send the children and they pay for it. But we actually raise the funds for our camp.
Thank you, Jean.
One other one, is there going to be a Ryla camp this year, or will it be communicated later? I think it's the opportunity to.
Yes, there will be Ryla camps this year. Eswatini will be holding their next Ryla camp on the 20th of March. It will be a virtual camp online. Please follow our Ryla 9400 Facebook page. All the dates are posted there. All events are posted on our Facebook page. So just please keep up to date there. Both Machuba's Kloof and East Rand are planning in-person Rylas this year, although for limited numbers. Are there any other questions? Sorry, I've got my husband here in the background going through the chat box for me.
Possible from Evan and Linda Dent, possibly an opportunity to host an international Ryla event. I think Rudy's answered that already. Yes, we are really keen to run an international Ryla.
Okay, question from Linda Dent asking if we are considering holding international Rylas. Yes, we are. Both Rudy, or not both Rudy and myself. Rudy and his team and our team from the East Rand are very keen to hold an international Ryla. I am in discussions with some of the districts, the neighboring districts, to hold a virtual international Ryla, well, limited Ryla. So we will definitely be pursuing that on an international level as soon as COVID has become a distant memory and allows us to carry on.
5 minutes. And there's lots of questions. How does one apply for a virtual Ryla seminar?
Okay, how does one apply for a virtual Ryla seminar? You follow the links are posted when we hold virtual seminars. The links are posted on our Facebook page with instructions on, and most virtual seminars are free, so there's no pre-registration or anything. You just get given the link and join, like you did this evening.
Glenn Ross wants to know, we're open to looking at opening a Ryla camp in Hartbeespoort area, Northwest Province.
Okay, we have a question from Glenn Ross asking if we would be interested in opening a camp in the Hartbeespoort area. If anybody is online from the Brits Rotary Club, please contact me. I'm more than happy to travel to Hartbeespoort to run Ryla there, and share with your club how to do it, and then you guys can take it over, or we can carry on doing it. The advantage of the district Ryla committee is that we all work as a team. All the Ryla facilitators and coordinators all work as a team, and we are all very happy and very willing to share our knowledge and our experience with any Rotary club that is interested in holding a leadership camp or interested in holding a Ryla camp. Please contact me and let's chat and let's see what we can do to facilitate you. And if there are any other Rotary clubs that are hosting youth leadership programs, please also chat with me, get involved with the Ryla committee. Let's work together to maintain the standards that we've all become accustomed to in the leadership programs within Rotary, and to make sure that the protection of our youth is in the foremost importance to all of us. Okay, we are running out of time, so unfortunately our guest speaker gets off lightly. Yay, because that was me. Thank you once again to all of you for joining us. Please stay online. The District 9400 alumni team is almost ready to welcome you. I'm just going to play you out, And with a thought and the official handing over the baton from the Ryla team to the alumni team. Have you got my video?
I have it ready. Shall we go?
Thank you. A special, huge thank you to my team, without whom we would not have been able to put tonight together. Okay. Grace, there's no sound.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the second session this evening of The Sun Never Sets on Rotary. My name is Shireen Michelle Hunter. I'm an alumni returning to Rotary 28 years later. I was introduced to Rotary in 1991 as a young girl sitting at school on the benches next to the swimming pool, when I met a wonderful young girl from Canada who was actually an exchange student at my school at the time, Queen's High. And that is where the conversation started. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that 28 years later, my road would cross again with Rotary after having succeeded as a long-term exchange student to Australia in 1993. I always say Rotary changed my life, and it is really, really true. As the eldest daughter in a single parent family at the time, my parents not Rotarians, I was the wonderful beneficiary and mentee of a beautiful woman who still serves in Rotary today in the Johannesburg East Club, Jeannie Wright. I thank God every day that Jeannie took the time to get to know me and my family and really walked me through the process in terms of Rotary and helped me to qualify for long-term exchange. These are the kind of people we need in Rotary. Men and women who truly have a heart for the youth and for the future of South Africa and more so Africa. Where would I be today if it wasn't for Jeannie? I got on my first SAA flight because of Jeannie, met students from around the country, learned so much about South Africa during my induction, and then also connected with people worldwide that today I'm still in touch with. All my host families still talk to me today. I still communicate with them over social media, and many of them have leaned in and directed me in my own businesses that I have today. Today, very fortunately, I have 8 of my own companies, and there are still times when I lean in and speak to my host dads, brothers and sisters and get the advice I need to be able to trade internationally. Tonight, if I leave you with one thought as the program director and past returning student of Rotary International, I really want to reach out to all the alumni students that are watching this evening or who will still watch when this is broadcast through social media, and really encourage you to take hands with Rotary once again and connect, returning in service to Rotary for all the wonderful investments that have been made into your life. I think it would only be the right thing to do. Just a year ago, I was invited by Terry Cannon to come as a guest speaker and share my experience, and have to say that since then, it's been a complete domino effect. From Terry, I was passed on to Sonia, spoke at the Rotary Benoni Club, and then from Sonia, referred through to speak to DG Anna Marie, who I met as well. And I just have not looked back. And I want to say one thing as well, before I hand over to Lauren Weber-Vroneman, who's going to introduce all of our delegates this evening. I commend you, DG Anna Marie, for taking my hand, recognizing the potential that was at the district conference and engaging me immediately with Rotary. Perhaps therein lies the secret for getting our alumni involved. As a business owner whose diary is already quite busy, I can tell you, had DG Anna Marie not taken my hand and immediately connected me to a committee which was directly related to my profession, chances are I might just have come, spoken and left. But because I was plugged in immediately to the Rotary system, the commitment was there. There is no way as a leader that you are going to connect and not be accountable. So I'd like to thank you, DG Anna Marie. You have changed the course of the last 12 months from purely being an alumni speaker to becoming a member of the E-Club, which you did very successfully because you were able to connect me in a way that was very practical as a businesswoman, through to getting me connected onto a committee and now being nominated to chair the Public Image Committee in the next term. What a wonderful eye you have for talent. And I would like to say to all the other leaders in Rotary, this is what we need. We need an eye for young talent, for legs that can be the hands and the feet of Rotary, and to be able to make that connect and get alumni students plugged in. Not that I think I'm more talented than anybody else, but I do believe the foundation that has been set in me which was fundamentally crafted by Rotary International, who trained me up to be an international traveler in the year 1992, just before our elections. The groundwork that was done was absolutely phenomenal in terms of understanding our country, the political climate at the time, the training through Toastmasters. I have to commend Rotary International for that foundation and the product thereof 28 years later. So that is my story. I encourage everybody who is listening, whether you're an alumni, Rotarian, or considering coming onto Rotary or not, come and give back. I'd like to challenge you. If you were an exchange student and Rotary is invested into your life, be it short-term or long-term, if the invitation is extended to you, and I believe it is tonight, come back and serve Rotary and serve your community. Without further ado, I'd like to hand on over to Lauren Weber-Froneman. Totally opposite upbringing to my own. She has been groomed and brought up in Rotary, and she will now introduce our delegates for this evening and deal with the formalities of introductions. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Shireen. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's event. In particular, our DG, Anna-Marie Morstead, DG-elect, Dr. Stella Anyangwe, DG nominee, Kuki Kwashi, and DG nominee delegate, Rihanna Pretorius. And I'd also like to welcome our past district governors, Greg Stathakopoulos, Grant Daly, and David Grant. And of course, the welcomes are done on behalf of District 9400 and the Rotary Club of Johannesburg. I'd also like to welcome all Rotarians, ANTs, Rotaractors, Interactors, alumni, friends, and family of Rotary. And on behalf of my club, the Rotary Club of Springs, I would like to welcome our President, Robin, as well as all our members and prospective members to this evening's event. When Grace, the Centennial President of the Rotary Club of Johannesburg, asked me to do the welcome this evening on the basis of being an alumni of Rotary, I have to admit that I had completely forgotten about my very short time in Rotaract before becoming a Rotarian. I often refer to myself as a Rotary orphan, in that my dad, past President Laurie Weber, was inducted into the Rotary Club of Springs when I was in my first year at university. I studied in Natal, so whenever I was home for the holidays, I was simply included in all things Rotary. So I had a very good understanding of what Rotary was all about from the age of 18. After university, I returned to Springs and started my career and joined Rotaract for a brief time. One evening, I was invited to a Rotary meeting and found myself being inducted. Little did I know that my 10-year on and off association with Rotary was probably the longest fit and proper interview of my life. At the time of my being inducted, I was only the second woman in my club, and my dad and I were either the first or second father-daughter team in the then District 9300. We might have just been put on the post by Heidelberg. I was also at that point the youngest ever member of the club, and I was only 28. This has of course changed over the years, and we have since inducted younger members into our club. After almost 22 years in the Rotary Club of Springs, I have to say that Rotary is no longer a choice. For me, it is a way of life. That said, I'm going to hand you back to Shireen, who will take us through the remainder of the program. Thanks, Shireen.
Thank you very much, Lauren. I'm now going to hand over to Mbali Simelani. She's a member of the E-Club and a Rotarian currently in service. Mbali, I hand over to you to introduce yourself and also the video that will follow.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that, Shireen. So as mentioned, I am Mbali Simelani, a Rotary member and the Sergeant of Arms at the E-Club of Southern South Africa. I am an alumni, as I had the privilege to be a long-term exchange student in 2009, where I spent the year in Toulouse, France. My background I have a very non-Rotarian background. Neither my parents are in Rotary. Funny enough, my neighbor was the one who introduced me to Rotary when I was in grade 9. Yeah, it was a once in a lifetime experience to explore and share my culture and that of the French. My exchange year changed my view on the world and my appreciation of our beautiful country, South Africa. A fun fact, when I arrived in France, I didn't speak a word of French, but by the end, I was having flowing conversations and inside jokes with my French friends and family. Even to this day, I still proudly have, let me just show you all. I still proudly own my blazer, and it's still very near and dear to my heart. All the memories of all the people I was blessed to meet whilst in France. Sorry about that. Okay. Now I have the honor and privilege to introduce our Rotary International President, Holger Knock. Holger Knock, sorry, technical difficulties. Holger Knock has been a Rotary member since the early 90s and has served Rotary as a treasurer, director, moderator, member, and a chairperson of several committees, being a representative of the Council on Legislation, zone coordinator, training leader, and district governor. Holger believes to build a strong membership, we as Rotary must focus on increasing the number of female members and transitioning of Rotaractors into Rotarians. Holger is a major donor to the Rotarian Foundation, a member of the Paul Harris Society and the Bequest Society. Married to Susan for 43 years, this couple has hosted more than 40 Rotarian youth exchanges. In his leisure time, he enjoys sailing and playing golf. Unfortunately, Holger's unable to join us live this evening, but he was kind enough to prepare a video to share with us. Thank you.
Greetings and happy 116th anniversary. So much has changed in the world in 116 years, and there have been many years of dramatic growth and
you make my life horrible sometimes, you know that.
through some difficult times. But we have also been important actors in Rotary history because what we have done this past year has helped move our organization forward dramatically. We found new ways to care for each other and to provide support in the face of the pandemic. I have rarely left my home in Germany for almost a year, but I have attended more Rotary meetings and
You just give me like a
any
headache.
president in
Sometimes
our
like you.
kept up our historic commitment to ending polio, took a strong stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion, created a new area of focus about the environment, and pointed to the future by looking for new ways that Rotaractors can take an expanded leadership role in everything we do. We have so much to be proud of today, and that is why we must keep growing and adapting. Rotary opens opportunities for you to live a richer, more meaningful life with friends around the world based on our core values. Everything we do opens another opportunity for someone, somewhere. So let's celebrate and look forward to the time when we can meet again face to face soon. Please take care of each other on this joyous day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mbali, for introducing yourself and handing over on the video. And I would like to take the opportunity to introduce to you Rotarian Tabu Lizwe Masuku. He hails initially from the Rotary Club of Eswatini, but is currently serving in the position of attendance officer at the Rotary Club of Manzini and also serves on the Membership Development Committee. He will be chatting to us a little bit more about Rotaract this evening. Tabu, I hand over to you.
Fellow Rotarians, good evening. My name is Thabo Liza Masuku. I'm from Eswatini. I'm part of the Manzini Rotary, the very first and oldest club in Eswatini. Thank you so much for making me part of this great initiative as we are celebrating Rotary. If I can maybe just dig briefly about my experience with Rotary, or say something regarding me joining Rotary even before Rotary. I became part of Rotary when I was in university. I think in my second year, as I was doing my bachelor's degree in a club that was formed by PDG Gopla in the varsity. It was a Rotary Club of UNISWA, University of Swaziland. So after I've been invited by a very humble guy whom I will always see serving on quite a number of committees which are speared on to make people being better and have their well-being made easier. So I then joined the club. I participated on quite a number of activities at community level, as well as at varsity level. Actually made me to be fully a member of the Rotary Club of UNISWA. Then during the second year, as I was a member, I was elected to be part of the executive of Rotaract Club, whereby I was serving in as vice president of the Rotaract Club of UNISWA. So we had quite a number of interesting activities with the support of our mother club, where we have DG nominee, Cookie Kwashe, as well as PDG Kobla Kwashe. So actually they've been my mentees and people who have been supporting me within Rotary as I was growing to be part of Rotary, including PAG Harry Ngumal. Yes, so those are probably my role models within the Rotary space. So I then, when I finished university, I then joined a community-based Rotary Club, whereby when I immediately joined, I became the president of the Rotary Club of Manzini, which is also under the Rotary Club of Manzini that I'm part of now. So I participated there on quite a number of initiatives, and I actually participated on international activities within Rotary, your district events, including Ryla. Actually, I was part of a committee that actually initiated Ryla in Swaziland. So it was a very big achievement to me as well as the Rotary team in Swaziland. So seeing our first Ryla actually rolling out, it was a very great initiative. All right, and then later last year, I decided to say, no, I'm old, let me just go and join the Rotarians. So I became inducted later last year. Now I'm part of the Rotary Club of Manzini.
We seem to be having difficulties with Thabo's connection. I think what I'm going to do is introduce you to Manele Majole,
who is a Rotaractor from the Rotaract Club of Johannesburg. Manele, I'm going to hand over to you to give some background on your journey as well as what Rotaract is. Manele?
Hello, am I audible?
You are audible.
Thank you very much. Greetings, everyone. My name is Mine Ntlemajola, and I'm from KZN in Durban. So how my journey started with Rotary was back in 2018 when I was studying for my master's in strategic management. My supervisor introduced me to the Rotaract Club of Johannesburg in Dawn, which gave me a platform to actually conduct my research on sustainability strategies for nonprofit organizations such as Rotary. So that's how I initially started my journey with Rotary, and then from then onwards, I've been part of initiatives globally with the Rotaract Club and the E Club ran by Bill Graham. So we link our projects with the global.
Manele, you've muted yourself.
Sorry, am I audible now?
You are back on.
All right. So I'll just pick it up from when how my involvement with the Rotaract Club of Johannesburg. So for me, that's when my journey started, when I was doing my master's, and then I had the privilege of using the Rotaract Club as my platform to conduct my research for sustainability strategies for nonprofit organizations. I completed my thesis in 2019, and then I continued with other projects for the Rotaract Club, whereby we are connected globally with the Dare to Be Great youth club ran by Bill Graham, whereby we share ideas on closing the education gap between the developing countries and the developed countries. So for me, just to answer what Rotaract is, it is an organization whereby young leaders as myself are empowered to develop their skills in problem solving, as our focus as Rotarians, I believe, is to solve the problems that we face as a human race. So with Rotaract gives me that platform to be able to voice my views, implement ideas, and share ideas with a diverse pool of experts in different fields. And that is how I believe I grow as an individual, and that's how we grow as a group, as Rotaractors. That's what it means for me. I'm able to change the world little by little with the actions that I take with the fellow Rotaractors that I work with.
Thank you, Manele. That is so amazing for you to share your journey. And I fondly refer to you as Minnie. And
yes.
Menentle is actually part of a very unique Rotaract club in Rotary. We share the Rotaract Club of Johannesburg between two Rotary clubs. That is the Rotary Club of Johannesburg and the Rotary Club of Johannesburg New Dawn. And it is so amazing to have Menenhle part of our committees. Although he's a Rotaractor, he gets involved in a lot of the Rotary committees and he uses his master's degree to the fullest extent. And we're so proud to have you amongst us, Menenhle. And I'm sure you're going to share more with us a little bit later on. So Thabo, who has been tasked to be introducing all our panelists, is having huge technical difficulties. And I must just tell you that Thabo is probably the youngest, oldest Rotarian, because he refers to himself as an old Rotarian, but he's actually not. And he's so dedicated that he's busy WhatsApping me the program so that I can take over his job. And I just need to say, well done, Thabo. I'm really proud of you for your commitment. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our next panelist that is going to be taking part in this evening's event. And this is a young gentleman. I don't think he's even 16. I think, James, I'm not sure if you're 16 yet, but you are the current president of the Interact of the St. Stithians Boy College. And without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to you, James.
Thank you very much. So yes, I am actually 16, turning 17 this year. But yeah, as said, my name is James Lohman. And for the last half a year, I've had the privilege of being the president of the St. Stithians Boys College Interact Club. Now, just being a part of this club is very special to me. And so when I found out that I was going to lead it, I was just beyond happy. So the Interact Club at St. Stithians is made up of all 2021 grade 11 students. However, the committee is made up of a selected 30. The committee does the organizing and the planning of events, and then the rest of the club helps to carry those events out. And a couple of these events that I speak of include community service outings, tuck shops at sports events, and events that we run, for example, a drive-in. And through these various events and outings, we strive to give back to the community and to improve people's lives. And although COVID-19 has been a bit of a problem for us and has hindered us from doing many things that previous clubs did, we have been very inventive and determined to make sure that we are still able to do our part in helping those less fortunate than us. Now, in the last year, we have done many things to help out. We ran a polio campaign for Rotary and managed to win. And so we were awarded 1,000 Rand. We just did quizzes and hung up posters about polio to spread the awareness and the role that Rotary played in nearly eradicating the disease. And so we won 1,000 Rand, which will then go to a charity of our choice at the end of our term. We also sold bracelets on behalf of CHOC, which is the Childhood Cancer Foundation, where we raised a whopping 9,000 Rand. We sold them around the school, and that'll be given back to CHOC, obviously. We went on 2 community service trips, one to Ikamva Youth Park at Ivory Park, where we helped with construction and painting, and one to Pachameng High School in Limpopo, because one of the boys in our committee had been doing a huge donation drive with big corporations, and so we donated a year's supply of sanitary pads, thermometers, dermal soaps, etc. We also hosted a drive-in at St. Stithians, which was a fun evening for all, and we were able to get many boys from the grade involved. And so these are just a few things that we've done so far, and we really hope to accomplish a whole lot more in our term in office. There are many events that the Interact Club usually holds, as I mentioned before, that we can't do, like a golf day and a ladies' tea, and they've been great successes in the past. And so these might not be a possibility for our committee, so we'll have to continue to adapt. But regardless of these difficulties, our club is ultimately dedicated to the service of others. And so no matter how much adapting we have to do, we will do it in order to maintain our values of service above self. The goals of our club are firstly to serve others, and secondly to involve as many people as we can. And in a grade of 160 boys, this can be quite a challenging task. However, we firmly believe that it is critical, because the more people we can involve in service, the more work we are able to accomplish. So in closing, I think it's important to take note of our Interact Club's motto of be the act, do the act, interact. And I hope that we can continue to strive to fulfill this motto in our everyday lives, because after all, It is not words that make change, it is action. And so I believe that now is our time to take charge and to act. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, James, and we are so, so proud of you, and we hope that when you leave school, high school, you will become a Rotaractor and then a Rotarian, or you can just jump into being a Rotarian straight from there, nothing stopping you. I think Thabo is online again, and I'm going to hand over to him. Thabo?
Thank you, Rotarian Grace, for covering me up. Yes, thank you so much, James, for that very comprehensive and interesting presentation. You guys are doing great. May I please now introduce Sarah. Sarah Morrison. So Sarah is one of the long-term exchange students who lived in Germany. Planned for the duration of 2020. She spent 10 months abroad, of which she spent with her family of 6, and which is one, and for one with family of 3. For the first half of the year, she attended classes with the year 12s, and after the year, she then returned home last December and will be attending the University of Witwatersrand in March to begin with her studies of mathematics in finance. So Sarah is excited to share with us what she has learned and done during her time away. Over to you, Sarah, and over.
Thank you so much, Thabo. So upon my reflections, I was instructed to give you guys a bit of an outline as to what is Rotary Youth Exchange. And I think it can be best described as a vital organ in the body of peace that Rotary is attempting to achieve. And it gives students from the ages of 15 to 19 the opportunity to become a global citizen, to learn a new language, and to immerse themselves in a different culture. The program is divided into 2 sets, a long-term exchange and a short-term exchange. The short-term exchange is a 3-week up until a 6-week up until a 3-month period, whereas the long-term exchange takes place over the course of a full academic year. During the course of such year, one will stay with different families and attend schools simultaneously. The program is not so much focused on the academic year, but rather on the development of the student without the restraints and pressures of normal schooling within one's home country. And now perhaps a rather dire question, how does one apply to this? Firstly, one needs to make contact with their local Rotary club a few months or a year in advance, preferably. Thereafter, you will fill out an application in which the student will give 5 countries that they have preference for. I'll circle back to this in more detail later. Following the submission of your application, you'll be invited to do an interview. Your guardian will accompany you. At this interview, you'll be asked questions about your general knowledge of the country, your social skills, and your sensitivity. Your guardian will be informed about the financial obligations and the minutiae of what would happen on an exchange year. Once you are accepted in the program, you are expected to attend several orientations that take place over 3 weekends in the course of the year. And for me, this was one of my highlights of the build-up to the exchange. As a prospective exchange student, you have the opportunity to speak to past exchange students, inbounds and outbounds. Inbounds is the term we use for exchange students from other countries that come into South Africa or wherever they are, and then outbounds are prospective exchange students. Now circling back to the country choice. The country that one is given, it highly has to do with the fact as what your preference was. However, primarily it has to do with whether or not there are availabilities in the country that you have chosen and your suitability as an individual for that country. I think that what's so special about this is that even though we have the orientation, it's not part of the exchange, it feels like it is. And within the experience of itself, it prepares the family and the individual for how it will be when you come back, when you leave, how it will be, and they really fully prepare you. And I think it's a growth experience in and of itself. I know host parents such as past district governor Grant Daly has shared with my father, who's also a Rotarian, that a exchange student that they hosted was much like their own daughter for them for a while. And I definitely know in my experience that my host parents and my host siblings in Germany, for me, were like my very own family. I wanted to be the best version of myself. And I can assure you that during the application process, the students that come to you are screened if you're thinking of becoming a host parent, and you will have the throughout support of the local Rotary Club that will be a part of that. So I think that's basically a sum up of what the youth exchange involves. And I would highly recommend anyone becoming a host parent if they are so inclined.
Tabo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was very, very interesting and very enlightening. We are so impressed with the confidence and the commitment that we have towards Rotary. Can we now move on to our Peace Fellows? Can I please introduce Chanay Katugure? Chanay has been involved in a nonprofit space since she was a teenager. In high school, she was she was an Interact member, and also she taught her value of which Interact taught her the value of service about self, and this attraction to serving the world has never left her. So Chanay earned her undergraduate and master's degree in Cape Town, where her experience of xenophobia inspired her to become part of the solution to global conflict. Chanay has got an experience in research, customer relations, and there's a very strong interpersonal skills. She has fundraised for philanthropic initiatives and assisted NGOs such as Open Doors Education, Cycle for Understanding, and the Council on International Education Exchange, which is otherwise known as the CIWE. As a dedicated soldier for peace, Chanay volunteers for the Red Frogs and has been involved in various church leadership activities. Wow. Chanay also serves on as a board of directors of Mwala, which is a charity organization, and she mentors during her spare time. She has mostly worked for the nonprofit entities, which is the Hope Factory, an enterprise development company owned by the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, which grows people to develop business and impact communities. She's committed to being a gift to the world. Well, Chanay also holds a BA degree in media, sociology, and gender studies, and Master of Philosophy in Diversity Studies from the University of Cape Town as well in SA. And she's a Rotary Peace Fellow, through which she obtained her Master's Studies in Global Studies at UNC Chapel Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians, please help me welcome Chanay. Over to you, Chanay.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Today, I am connecting from Toronto, Canada. So I think it's a good evening to you and good afternoon for me. As Tab was mentioned, my name is Chanay Simbisai Kadungure. I'm Zimbabwean. And I completed my Rotary Peace Fellowship for the 2016 to 2018 year. I was sponsored by the Rotary Club of Pretoria Capital by a woman who I've always called my I always say she's my Rotary godmother. Faith Bam really assisted me when I was applying for the fellowship. It was a challenge when I was applying for the fellowship because a lot of Rotary clubs didn't actually know a lot about Rotary Peace Fellowships. I think they felt that if they sponsored someone, they would have to pay for the person's schooling, but the Rotary International Foundation sponsors all of us, the Peace Fellows, and mine was with the joint Duke and UNC Chapel Hill Peace Center in North Carolina, and I had the fun of being in America in the midst of, they had elections in 2016, and I got to just see everything. And then when I completed my Peace Fellowship, I then moved to Toronto. In terms of the Peace Fellowship and where it adds value for Rotarians, you as Rotary clubs have the ability to help select Peace Fellows, and I think it's such an important role to play. If your club has never selected Peace Fellows before, I think it's such an important role because it's a step in the process, but it also allows Rotarians to be able to also add Peace Fellows in the lifeblood of Rotary. As Thabo mentioned, I was an interactor, and that journey with Rotary has never ended. It's only now that I've had an insanely busy schedule, but I committed that I will become a Rotarian because I also believe that there's a lot for us to do within Rotary. Rotary is one of the best kept secrets, and that's something that I'm just insisting on. But in terms of the Peace Fellowship, there were 5 peace centers when I got into the Peace Fellowship, but now we've just recently added Makerere University in Uganda. Duke and UNC is a joint peace center in America. We have University of Bradford in England, and we have International Christian University in Japan, University of Queen Elizabeth in Australia, and then they also have Uppsala University in Sweden and Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. Chulalongkorn is for a program that is not exactly it's not a master's program like all the others. It's a certificate which is about 3 to 9 months, and that's for more seasoned, more seasoned post-peace fellowship experiences, or people who are not necessarily mid-career. As part of the fellowship, you receive not only just the master's program, the master's program track, and each university has their own, sort of concentrations, whether it's peace and conflict resolution. Duke UNC has the Master in International Development Policy. I did a Master in Global Studies, but people also had opportunities for global health, a lot of different tracks, even degrees in geography. So the idea is that there are multiple paths to peace, and all these different disciplines have ways of, assisting in peace. I had colleagues who were journalists. A lot of my colleagues were initially in the UN system. So that's really exciting. And the professional development of the Peace Fellowship is just, it's exceptional. I was studying with colleagues who were on the Fulbright, and they still insisted that our fellowship was the best one in the world. So it is a very, very awesome Peace Fellowship. And in terms of what I have done after the Peace Fellowship, there's a portion of the Peace Fellowship where we do a professional experience called the Applied Field Experience, and you get to pick a country of your choice where somewhere where you were not born, where you get to learn a bit more about the space you want to work in. For myself, it's international development. So I did my stint in both Greensboro, North Carolina, and Barbados, and I was working very closely with the UNDP there. And yeah, it was a great experience. And I think for anyone who is thinking of applying for a Peace Fellowship, like I recommend it. Currently, we are in the application phase for the next cohorts. The deadline usually is around 31 May, and the clubs have to also start vetting Peace Fellows closer to the end as well, so that by July, the Peace Center receives a full application. I think by the 1st of July, they receive a full application. And I myself now participate in selecting Peace Fellows. I have selected 2 Peace Fellows over the past 2 years, and it's really exciting to see the kind of muscle we are building with the Rotary Peace Fellowship. Currently, I am the Associate Director for Programs and Services at Skills for Change, and we're a nonprofit that is building welcoming communities in Canada. There's some institutional issues with newcomers to Canada in terms of them finding employment and maintaining dignity when they move to Canada. And so my agency is very pivotal in that resettlement process. And in my spare time, I'm also the Director of Strategic Programs and Outreach for Rituals for Recovery. It's a trauma recovery agency, and you can imagine with the issues of the pandemic, we have just become triple the level of busy as the world is just going through this collective trauma. But I think spaces like Rotary and all the places I work are just critical for any kind of healing and assistance for people in this time. I don't know what other specific questions anyone have about the Peace Fellowship.
Thank you, Shanae. We're going to have a panel discussion where Bruno is going to pose some questions to you, and we will have some question and answer sessions. I'm going to hand over to Thabo again to introduce our next Peace Fellow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Return Grace, and wonderful presentation from Our Lady Rotary. Thank you so much. I think that was very, very great. Can I now kind of introduce Romy? Yes, Romy Brahma. So Romy Brahma has previously worked in human rights organizations geared towards providing legal assistance to indigent individuals and refugees. She also worked as a researcher for the UN Special Reporter on extrajudicial summary or arbitrary executions. So in her work, she has been struck by a number of different aspects which plays a role in fueling political instability and human rights abuses. Whilst Romy has a legal background which she completed an LLB degree in law and LLM in international law. She selected to study an interdisciplinary master's degree in order to obtain a multidimensional perspective, which she considered essential in overcoming human rights abuses. Romy obtained an MA in Global Studies at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, through the Rotary Peace Scholarship Program. Over to you, Romy.
Thank you very much, Thabo, and good evening to everyone. Well, like Chennai, I was also sponsored by Faith Bam. I think she's prolific in sponsoring Rotary Peace Fellows, which I'm very grateful for. She approached me, I knew her on a personal level, and excuse me, sorry. She approached me and explained to me what the basis of the fellowship was and how it was geared towards providing further training to people who were already working in peace-related areas and development areas in order to further train them and capacitate them to promote peace through international service. One of the reasons why I applied was, as Thabo mentioned, at the time I was working as a research assistant for the United Nations Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial summary or arbitrary executions. It's quite a mouthful, but it's basically a thematic special rapporteur who looks into the right to life and how it's violated or how it can be better protected. So through my work, I was exposed to a number of ways in which people were unlawfully killed through state action, for instance, through the use of force during protests, or at the time it was becoming more and more a problem that we noticed is the use of drones to conduct targeted killings. And through my work, I started to realize how little I actually knew about the causes of violence and why this happened. I understood, we deal with it from a legal perspective, generally the aftermath, but I didn't understand why all of these violence and conflict occurred. And I really felt that I needed a greater understanding of the sort of multitude of aspects that cause violence. And from the Rotary Peace Fellowship, it appeared to me that this was exactly the thing that I was looking for. It's a prime opportunity to broaden your horizons and to understand a number of aspects, and really how to address causes rather than just effect. So I ended up also doing a master's degree in global studies at UNC in North Carolina in the US. And for me, it was really an eye-opening experience. It was not without its challenges. I think I was one of the oldest people in the class, so that was already a little difficult. But it was really good because it enabled me to also see how younger people look at things. I think they tend to be a bit more critical than what we are. So it was really good for me from that perspective. And it was also an opportunity to study, as Chennai mentioned, a variety of topics. That was one of the things that I think was so attractive about global studies, is that there were few core courses that you had to take, and the rest was very broad. You could go in whichever direction you wanted to, and that's exactly the type of thing I was looking for. So I mean, I was able to delve into topics such as politics and economics and development and anthropology. It was really cross-cutting, which is if you struggle to pay attention to one topic, I definitely recommend that. So I really think that the Rotary Peace Fellowship plays a significant role in how one sort of starts to look at things more broadly, and how you can address conflict and ensure peace, not just through your sort of one vision, but looking at things more broadly and understanding it from a multidimensional perspective. At the moment, when I came back, I joined the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, also a mouthful. It's a former Department of Foreign Affairs. And I work as a state law advisor in international law. So we basically provide legal advice to all of the national departments on international law, as well as the provinces on international law related matters. And then we also give departmental legal advice. So that's where I am at the moment.
Thank you, Romy. That was amazing. With that, I'm going to hand over to Shireen, our program director, to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you very much, Grace. What a wonderful presentation from our Peace Fellows. I mean, it is just amazing, the resources that we have amongst alumni, and really what the future could hold when we mobilize these amazing resources within Rotary. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce a Rotarian, Bruno Amaral. He is Assistant Governor and past President to the Rotary Club of Palana, which is in Maputo, our neighboring state Mozambique. Bruno, can I hand over to you to handle our panel discussion? And please, could I ask everybody any questions that you have that you would like addressed in the panel discussion? Would you please post it in the chat box and we will attend to them throughout. Bruno, over to you.
Thank you very much, Shireen. Good evening, everybody. Just a quick introduction. My name is Bruno Amaral. I'm from the Rotary Club of Pulana here in Maputo, Mozambique. A brief introduction about my Rotary experience. I joined Rotary in 2014 when I was just 24 years old, not very young or not very old, depending on which viewpoint you have. Well, I came into Rotary for two reasons. One of them is my father, who is also a Rotarian, who's been a Rotarian for a little over 16 years. He's always been talking about something called Rotary, and I always went, maybe I'll join it someday. And also my wife, who has been an interactor, who's been a Rotaractor, and now is a Rotarian as well. So I have these two push factors that brought me into this world of Rotary, and I've honestly never looked back, and I've enjoyed every single moment of it. So just to go quickly at what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna have a sort of a quick panel, and we're gonna have Mineklia, we're gonna have James, we're gonna have Sarah and Chennai and Romy, and I'm gonna ask you quite brief questions, and I'd just like to have you answer them as you wish, but it's mainly looking at your experience in Rotary. And to begin with, I would like to go with Mineklia, if I can find you. There you are. your cameras off. If you can put it back on, Minele, please. Could you give us sort of a quick understanding of what made you join Rotaract? I know you talked briefly about it, but sort of what was the main push or pull factor that brought you into Rotaract, and how has it been since then?
Thank you, Bruno. As I mentioned earlier before, what actually pushed me into Rotary was my supervisor, Dr. Thomas, at the time. And I did not have a platform or way or how I was going to do my research. Then she gave me a way, and that way it was through Rotary. But now what made me stay in Rotaract was the fellowship that I built during the time of my research. It seems like Rotary now is like a second family to me, because I know more. I know some of the Rotaractors more than I know some of my family members. So that's how we've managed to grow and build a solid relationship with not only the mother club of my club. So as Grace mentioned earlier on, that the Rotaract club that I fall under is kind of special, because we have the Rotary Club of New Dawn and the Rotary Club of Johannesburg as our mother club. So two of these Rotary clubs help us in taking action in all the projects that we have. Just to mention a few of those, with the Rotary Club of Johannesburg, with Grace, we've partnered and tried to solve a problem in an orphanage whereby there was legal issues there, and it was so good to see how all our efforts come into solving a bigger issue that is bigger than ourselves. So it was that sort of fellowship and teamwork and team effort that actually made me stay in Rotary after completing my master's.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mineki, for sharing your story. I mean, something bigger than yourself is always something to make you stay. I definitely agree. And just moving on, I mean, James, if you can just quickly give us sort of an understanding about your Interact Club, sort of what's the history behind your Interact Club and how did it come about as well? That would be interesting for us to understand more about what your Interact Club is about.
Well, the origin of the Interact Club dates back, I know, quite longer. I'm not going to be able to tell you the exact time. But I know our Interact Club, as I mentioned earlier, made up of 160 boys, because when you come into grade 11 or halfway through grade 10 at St. Cecilians, you are immediately a part of that club. However, you have to apply to be a part of the committee and to run the different events, as I mentioned earlier. And so what we do is we make sure, in order to get everyone involved, we use a points system so that 1 hour of work for Interact effectively equates to 1 point. And so this gets people involved, and then there's incentives like a formal dance. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to have that this year, but there's a dance and a tie and that sort of thing. So I think it's more just about getting everybody involved as much as possible. But yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks, James, for sharing. And also, Sarah, you spoke about your youth exchange experience. You have 200 or so countries to choose from, or 100 or so countries you choose from where you want to go. How did you choose Germany, and why did you choose Germany? If you could just share that story and that mind process that you went through to get to Germany.
Well, Bruno, there's many choices, and Germany was my first choice. So I was very lucky that I was able to get Germany. However, I did go in with the mindset that I would have my objectives and goals based off of the country that I would get, because I knew there was no guarantee that I would get Germany, or even one of the top 5. That's the thing when you go in. But I wanted to explore my German heritage. And furthermore, I think I wanted to look at the parallels between the German history and the South African history, particularly looking at the processes of reconciliation following the fall of the Berlin Wall in the 90s. I think that it was interesting for me, like in our history and classroom, learning about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the Cold War, and the reunification of Germany, and being able to draw these parallels and being able to really live through my school textbooks. So yeah, that was my mindset about going and choosing Germany.
That's a good mindset, I can say. I mean, putting the parallels together, that must be a great lesson to have. And also for Romy, if I can, there you are, Romy, if I can just ask you a quick question, sort of the basis of how did you become a Peace Fellow, and sort of what brought you in a personal level to become that Peace Fellow? Sort of what was your decision-making process to become that Peace Fellow?
Thanks very much, Bruno. I think I did largely address what my thinking was in how I became a Peace Fellow. And it really, I must say, it very much had to do with what I was going through at work at the time, and hearing the opportunities that Rotary gives in terms of learning and being able to sort of take your knowledge but push it even further. That's what prompted me to do it. I hope that answers it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I just wanted to know also on a personal level, what came to you and sort of you told yourself that, yes, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, from a personal level, I mean, it's whenever you get an opportunity to either learn more or to be able to use your knowledge in a way that could benefit potentially in future, hopefully, that was sort of what was the motivating factor on a personal front.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks very much, Romy. And tonight, just quickly, did you know much about Rotary before becoming a Peace Fellow, or did you have any understanding of Rotary before you did? If you can just give us what was your understanding back then.
Well, I was an interactor, so I always knew about Rotary, but I have to admit that my high school in Zimbabwe did such a good job of making Interact seem like it's their own initiative. So I didn't know too much about Rotary, but while I was being an interactor. But the Peace Fellowship itself, my aunt is the one who had sent a link and said, it sounds like they're looking like for people like you. And she asked me to, and she had sent me the link, and I read it and I said, no, I think they're looking for super people.
There's something here.
Yeah, but then she said, don't self-reject. Just, if you've been working in peace, which you have been, like, just check it out. So similar to Romy, though, I had reached a glass ceiling in my work in Johannesburg, and then I just felt like I needed to change.
The normal education that have had not
so
opportunities,
Rotary
that
sort of breaks
suffered violence and poverty.
Rotary always breaks the ceiling, I guess, as well. That's also something about Rotary.
Sorry, Bruno, I need to just interrupt you quickly. Our hosts
Go ahead,
have asked that I hand over the virtual baton to the Rotary Club in Nigeria, who is going to be starting their virtual meeting in their country right now. And it's my namesake, or DGN Grace from Nigeria. We wish you well, and we pass this virtual baton on to you. And we hope you have an amazing, successful evening, the same way we have this evening. Thank you very much, Daksha and Nigeria.
Thank you very much. I'll be taking over from you shortly. Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you. All the best to. All right. Thank you, Grace, and all the best to DG and Grace as well in Nigeria. Just quickly, also back to Sarah. How has your experience abroad impacted your life? I mean, let's talk also on a career basis, on why you decided to, on your university, and why you decided to go forward with what you're going to be studying, but also on a personal basis. How did it change your life in terms of your exchange?
Well, I don't want to take any time from the Nigerian Rotary group, so I'll put it into one or two sentences, but I will say that I was absolutely influenced by the emotional bonds that I formed while I was in Germany. I'm semi-fluent in the German language, but I do feel like that was just sort of the cherry on the cake, considering the amount of like growth I think I had as an individual when I was on my exchange, and how my life has been enriched indelibly in this process. I've decided to do mathematics of finance as a result of perhaps wanting to travel more in the future. I know with math I can do that. I'm hoping to do like a minor in international affairs as well, if that's possible with the BSc, but we'll see how it goes with the coronavirus this year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Das ist wunderbar. Dankeschön. That's only German I know how to speak. Moving on, James, how involved is your Interact Club with your sponsor club? And sort of how are the activities that you have between the two? I know sometimes it can be difficult to get some activities between the two, sponsor club and your Interact Club, but how has it been done in your club?
Well, as I mentioned before, we ran a polio awareness campaign, which we actually managed to win, which was fantastic. But what happens quite often with us in Rotary is a few of the guys, like myself, the vice presidents of the committee, there's a few talks that happened last year on Tuesday nights that we can attend. Leadership courses have happened. There was a whole day for polio. So I think the teacher in charge of our Interact Club has told us that our involvement in Rotary this year has been quite prominent in comparison to years before us. So yeah, that's pretty much that.
Okay, so there's a lot going on between the two clubs. That's great. That's awesome. Chene, back to you. I mean, your career-wise, you're skyrocketing right now. You've hit the glass ceiling and you broke it completely, as you've very well shown us. But sort of how would you sort of describe the impact of the Peace Fellow? Sort of once you got out of the Peace Fellow, once you completed the Peace Fellow, how has it sort of, what was the first thing you noticed that, okay, something's changed there because of this?
I think that community is important, right? When we say, you know, when people talk about things like networking, they talk about it loosely, but I think in the Peace Fellowship, it's you literally have family, and the vision with it. I think when they founded the Peace Fellowship was that if two countries are about to go to war, and it turns out that there's a Peace Fellow representative on the leaderships of both sides, people then say, hey, let's think about the four-way test or something like that before they do something drastic. And so for me, it's something that I've used in my life. I don't think there's any city I've lived in where I haven't then connected with the Rotary clubs there and been part of their projects. So your life's never the same. That's for sure. So I think when you become an alumnus of the Rotary Peace Fellowship, it's like you have such a strong awareness and commitment to the values of what the fellowship talks about, but it's also trying to make your ordinary life becomes one of trying to facilitate peace and trying to do more. So I think that's crucial. And everywhere I go, I already know I have a community.
Rightly so. Rightly so. Thanks, Jay. And Mineshlia, sort of what was some of the projects that your Rotaract Club it was involved in during or currently is involved in at the moment?
Okay. During my time when I was still in Johannesburg physically, we participated in the Great Train Race in Mpumalanga as the club. We traveled to Mpumalanga and we assisted there with the Great Train Race. That's when joggers jog around from Witbank to Middelburg in Mpumalanga. That's the whole train race. So we assisted there initially as we were chartered, and then we continued with other projects in Johannesburg whereby we were assisting with books, whereby books were donated from Canada. We were distributing books to various non-profits around Soweto and various areas in Johannesburg. So that's where my interest of closing the education gap was actually ignited, because I was aware of the gap, that the literacy gap that is present within my country and the developed countries. So currently now I'm based in Durban, but I'm still involved greatly with projects globally that speak to closing the gap between education in developed and developing countries, and also with the new pillar that Rotary is adding of protecting the environment. I've also that's where I also that's where we also have projects ongoing on that area. So it's been really great. I don't really need to be in a place physically to be able to participate in all those projects.
It's fantastic. Please do keep participating in the projects, Mineke. It's fantastic. And also, Romy, just before we close with the general question, how has sort of your experience with a Peace Fellow promoted positive peace, either in your community or in your country or wherever you've been in the world? How has that sort of impacted yourself and your career as well?
Thanks so much, Bruno. I think it's largely been through my work, and I suppose on a country level, with the type of work that I do, there's a lot of engagement on the international arena. So, for instance, we provide input, in my office provides inputs to when South Africa was a non-permanent member of the Security Council, which ended in December last year. We provided inputs on, in particular, my portfolio, international criminal related matters. So responding to the prosecutor's presentation or report on matters related to the ICC. Incidentally, on the ICC, we were, I mean, all states that are parties to the Rome Statute, but also South Africa was involved at a really, really, exciting time when the crime of aggression was activated as one of the crimes. So from that perspective, on that level, we operate, but we also, to a degree, provide, I guess, an accountability service in the sense that we ensure that the government complies with its international, well, at least we try to ensure that the government complies with its international legal obligations through providing legal advice and so forth. But I mean, the great thing is that we sort of, it's not just sort of in the traditional sense of what peace and conflict resolution is, it's also in the broader sense of development and ensuring that the developing world has a voice on the international plane in terms of development. So South Africa is a permanent or a member at the moment of the United Nations Commission on Trade Law. So through that, we have an opportunity to also put forward the developing world's views on trade. And so through doing that, you ensure that there's perhaps greater development and greater representation, and through that, maybe a little bit of positive peace will come from it.
Fantastic. Thanks for being the flag bearer of the developing world as well. I mean, I can imagine that you're right in the middle of everything. So that must be something, that must be a great experience, I can imagine. And finally, just to wrap up, we can start with Chennai, but this is a question for everybody. Please tell us sort of what part Rotary has played in your life, and why should people become part of this organization? In brief words, if you can.
Service above self. And making it a mantra, like it just doesn't get any bigger than that.
I completely agree with you. And James?
Well, I think that, as it was mentioned earlier, that Rotary provides a platform for service, and there's so many people out there who want to get involved, want to volunteer. I previously being one of those people, but just did not know where to start or who to get involved with. And so I think that platform that Rotary provides is fundamental. So everybody should really try and get involved, because it opens you up to people from different walks of life, and it teaches you to learn about not only the people around you, but also about yourself.
That's true. Very true. Thanks, James. And Romy, back to you quickly, if you can give us sort of an understanding of how it's played in your life, how Rotary has played in your life.
Thanks so much. Really, just to echo what everyone else has already said, I think sometimes you get overwhelmed with, you want to help, but you don't know how. And I think Rotary as an organization gives you a chance to contribute to a larger, make a bigger difference. And it has such wonderful values that it's, I think, a fantastic organization.
Definitely. Thank you. And Mineke, just your two cents on this?
Also service above self, and I believe it was Steve Jobs who said those who think who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are usually the ones who do. I think at Rotary we are crazy enough to change the world, so that's why I'm here.
Definitely, I put my 2 cents on that one as well. And Sarah, finally, if you could just give us your 2 cents without being repetitive.
No problem. I mean, I would echo everything that everyone said, but for me, I would also say that for the first time in my life, I really understood the value of service. I don't come from a religious family, and often religion and good work go hand in hand, and Rotary really gave me the platform to associate myself with good works. I mean, I have lots of friends who attended university last year, and I doubt that any of them received the same sort of education in a humanitarian sense that I did last year, and understanding humans from different cultures and who speak different languages. So I really think it's an invaluable experience that I was given through my exchange, and I really would recommend anyone doing the exchange program and being a host parent as well.
Thank you, Sarah. And with that, that is the end of the panel session. If you have any further questions, please put it down on the chat. It has been my pleasure to host this panel session, and I'll put it down to now to PTG Greg for all the question and answers. Thank you very much. Kanimambo, good night.
If I can just, sorry, I would just like to introduce you formally, if that's okay. We have past District Governor Greg Strathakopoulos. He is also our District Foundation Chair and a member of the E-Club of Southern Africa. And Greg will be handling any questions that have come up in the chat box, and I believe he has a few words for Bruno also this evening. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Shireen. Yes, I was so excited to be able to thank Bruno that, yeah, I jumped the gun there. But Bruno, well done. You really took the panelists through quite a rigorous question and answer type of situation. But I think what you've managed to do is you brought out what it is that is so fantastic about our Rotary alumni. Being a foundation chair, I'm quite humbled and actually very, very impressed with what we achieve in the Rotary Foundation, especially through the Peace Scholarship. So thank you for everything that you are doing for Rotary. I have one or two questions, and the one question that came through was from DG Stella, and this is addressed to the Peace Fellows. Do countries in conflict ever listen to Peace Fellows? And there's two of you who could possibly give me an answer there. I know something was put onto the chat, but I'm sure the rest of our visitors would like to hear the answer as well. So Shania, over to you.
Yes, I was just saying, in my experience, I see it happen every day. They're fellows who are at the highest levels of government, so they're forming up part of government. I mean, one of my friends I know is a minister of environment in Argentina, and so there is that level of influence. Yes, so the short answer would be yes. And I remember the entire rescue effort at the Malaysia cyclones, I think, was headed up by someone who was a Peace Fellow. So we are everywhere. About 1,300 alumni so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And Romy, your answer?
Sometimes I think they do, but I think they can listen a little bit more often.
I think that what you're saying is we're all human and we can only do as much as we can do. I have one question for Rotaract, for Menechli. Menechli, you know there's certain changes coming through to Rotaract in the very near future. How do you perceive Rotaract as we look to the future?
Well, I think we create our own future, and it is very important for us as Rotaractors to be part of that creation, because down the line, we are going to be those in the front line, and we are going to take on the baton from the well-experienced Rotary members. So the change, we seek change because change is a constant, and that is how we are going to continue to adapt and be able to do great things in this world.
Thank you there. That's a very good answer. And I think the last one, because we're running out of time. James, very quickly, you did allude to the fact that you're working with the Rotary Club, but how important is it to interact, to have a, if I can put it, Rotary daddy or a Rotary mentor assisting you?
Well, I think it's huge because after all, being part of Interact, you're only there for one term. So as you come in, to have that guidance provided by Rotary is essential to any of our success. You know, if I have trouble, I can always message Grace or anybody else involved in Rotary. So I think that that's fundamentally important for us.
Thank you, James, and thank you for everything you're doing, you and your Rotary Club, Interact Club colleagues are doing. Shireen, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. I'm now going to hand over to our district youth exchange chairman, also the district alumni chairman, Terry Cannon, who is also a recipient of the Paul Harris Fellow Award and who hails from the Rotary Club of Johannesburg South. Terry, an amazing man in Rotary, the gentleman who actually invited me to be a guest speaker as an alumni member, and I think, you know, got a lot of the cogs turning. I hand over to you now, Terry.
Thank you, Shireen. And to all our panelists, thank you for your service. And thanks for spreading the values of Rotary, as well as the value of Rotary around the world as you've gone in your travels. To Manenshli, thanks for your informative views on Rotaract and experience that you've had. And it was interesting to see how you made it work for you and got it into your way of life and your work situation. And I'm glad to see that you actually have progressed progressed on your Rotary journey at your club in Johannesburg there. James, nice to see some young people at all our meetings. There's sort of not too many of you guys, but it was interesting listening to you and your Interact club and what you guys do and how you go about doing it. Also, I just want to point out you've already begun your Rotary journey, and I think it would be great for you to continue with it. And I think the next step is to participate in Ryla and then in Youth Exchange. I think you'd have a fantastic experience, a life-changing experience. To Sarah, one of my stars of the Youth Exchange program last year, thanks. I know I missed your chat at your club, but thanks for telling us all about your fantastic long-term exchange in Germany and how you benefited from the experience. And I know we'll definitely see you involved in our Rotex Alumni Association for all exchange students. And Chennai, nice to see one of our neighbors, how you've progressed in the world and doing so well there. Thanks for the info about the Peace Fellowship and your experience as to how your life has developed after you did your program. I'm glad to see that you're involved in selecting candidates to be involved so that you actually pass the baton and make sure that the next lot of Peace Fellows are in the right category. And Romy, to you as well, thanks for sharing how the program impacted your life. I think you're still in South Africa, I gather, but we'd love to see you join a Rotary Club near you and get them involved in the peace initiatives that you've experienced and working in your life. Shireen, back to you.
Thank you so much, Terry. What a wonderful, humble man in Rotary that really gets the job done. And now, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to our DG, Anna Marie Mostert, certainly like a mum to me in Rotary. a wonderful lady who has been a mover and a shaker in her term as district governor in our district 9400. Seen amazing strides forward under your leadership, DG Anna Marie. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Shireen. And to Stella, I've left a little message for you in the box, Stella. This is a wonderful question that you've asked, especially for on the continent of Africa. But Shireen, thank you very much. And I want to say to President Grace as well, well done in putting together an amazing, amazing program. After Cheryl as well on. But, you know, this specific alumni it's all about investments. It's long-term yield, and Rotary is invested in each and every person that touches the alumni or that touches either a youth exchange, you know, the youth exchange, the VT, even VTTs, the Global District Grant Scholars. I know the Peace Scholars, Ambassadorial Scholars, and all of those are investments into the leaders, the young leaders, to actually become incredible human beings in their countries. But, you know, as somebody was saying, it's all about the change that we want to see in communities. But I want to tell you, it's actually the change within ourselves. And therefore, I want to say the alumni is about change within yourself, and therefore you are actually taking it forward. You are paying it forward. And thank you very, very much for doing the incredible work you are doing. I want to just say that we are very proud in 9400 because we have a Peace Fellow, and we are excited about that. That will start his journey in Japan at the Christian University, and that's Anas Al-Hamati, and he was selected and or nominated by the Rotary Club of Sandton, and then he's our Peace Fellow that will be 2 years doing his training and his education for 2 years in Japan, starting from the 1st of July. And he's currently working at the Gift of the Givers Foundation. So we're very excited and proud of that. But then I want to also say my little comment to DG Stella in the box, specifically our district, and well as the districts in Southern Africa, 9350, 9370, and ourselves, we have embarked on an amazing program, Shireen, that you know, that you've been working so hard with the team as well, and that's ARCOM. And ARCOM is African Rotary Community Mediation. It's been an accredited program by MBBI Mediators Beyond Borders International, a partner of Rotary International, and there are various Peace Scholars that's actually sitting at MBBI. And our gift in the centennial year to Rotary International, and specifically Rotary in Africa, is 100 trained, accredited mediators to make a difference. And I want to say, Canada, salute to Canada. Some of our Rotarians sitting there has helped us to fundraise in Canada. And then also some from the US. But I want to say, wow, I was invited to an incredible 3 hours, a journey, and not only in the youngsters of Ryla, but then these incredible teams of alumni. And thank you for having us. And I want to also pay tribute to Trustee Gita Manik. She's invited the district to participate in this 24-hour activity on the birthday of Rotary International. And therefore, Grace had to Nigeria, because each district that's participating is taking a slot to make it work, to actually ensure eventually that we can cover 24 hours of celebration using the youth, the future of Rotary. It's in good hands, Shireen, when I look at you and the many others, the Mbalis of the world, the Sarahs of the world. And thank you so much to James Fatabu, as well as Shania and Romy and Mentle. So Wow, so proud. And Grace, we salute you for putting this beautiful program together. Thank you.
Thank you, DG Anna-Marie. I'm now going to hand over to the president of Rotary Club Johannesburg. We've all seen her a few times on the screen tonight. Grace van Zyl, I hand over to you for the final word of thank yous. You've done a fantastic job on the back end. I've seen how much work has gone into the back of this, and well done, Grace. I hand over to you.
Thank you, Shireen. And you know, we didn't make a big hoo-ha about Rotary is celebrating 116 years today. And it is an amazing journey to be part of this 24-hour marathon event. And I just want to say that the centennial in Africa is because of the Rotary Club of Johannesburg. We turn 100 this year in 2021. And although we didn't charter on the 25th of April, that is when the document was signed to form this Rotary Club, and we chartered officially on the 1st of July. So we are celebrating with the rest of Africa to celebrate 100 years in Rotary. And I don't want to take too much time. And DG Anna-Marie, thank you very much for doing a lot of my job tonight, for thanking these amazing people that have been part of our program tonight. I'm so proud to be a Rotarian, to be part of the youth and this new generation that is going to shape not only Rotary, but our futures in our countries. And I want to close off by handing over. Obviously, we've handed over to Nigeria already, but we're handing over to Poland, Ukraine, and Lithuania that are running their programs right now. And I want to end off the session with the Ndlovu Youth Choir singing Nkosi Sikelele. And I know that our district covers many countries. We've got Botswana, we've got Eswatini, and we've got Mozambique. But Nkosi Sikelele is God bless Africa, and we are all part of Africa. Thank you so much for your time. It is wonderful being part of this event, and I bid you all good night.
Nkosi sikelele Afrika, malungana nisukhona ngayo, izwa imithandazo yethu. Nkosi sikelela, thina lusapho lwayo, murena buluka nsihlaba sayethu, ufedise dintoli mathwenye, usibuluke, usibuluke, sithabasa, Yesu sithabasa, South Africa, South Africa. To come together and united we shall.